You may. I will ask Yoshino-san several questions. And I also have short videos of major experiences of Yoshino-san at the NUMMI factory, for which he was partly responsible. But if you have a question, just raise your hand. And I don't promise that I give you the word, but if the time permits, then I will say, well, please ask a question. It's a college tour. So when you write things down and when you listen, then you will hear probably something from which you say, well, I don't understand it. I have a question. Please raise your hand and ask a question. Well, Yoshino-san, please sit down.
Oh, thank you.
We'll continue with the first. And the first slide I have is Yoshino-san. You know, he always has a hat. Next to him is John Shook with a hat, also in a kind of college tour. So I decided to put up a hat. So, the first thing. Yoshino-san entered Toyota at 1966.
That's correct.
And he left Toyota about 40 years later, 2006. And after that, 10 years, he was retired. But actually, he was not retired. He taught at a university. He was a university teacher. So my first question is, educating students, is that different from educating employees or managers at Toyota? Just a question to start.
Not a big difference. But small, but not small, but the difference is between the business people and students, or particularly in Japanese case. Japanese university students are not so immature. I hate to say, but compared with European and American students. And so one good example, but not good. One example is that they don't have target in their life. Particularly in the 4-year college life, they don't have clear-cut target to attain. That is quite surprising. And when I just joined university, and I asked all those students, what are your target to attain in the next 4 years? And that very vague, and some people do, some people don't. That is a major difference between the company people and university students.
Yeah, I think that's a major difference because in Netherlands, every student has a clear target what he or she wants to do, isn't it? But I think a target. I think we will come back to that issue. Target, to have a clear target. Why is a target important?
Well, actually, you have to have some target to do whatever you do, and everything has some reasons, So if you have some target, every action you do is aligned to attain the target. If you don't set a target, whatever you do is just go this way, go that way. So it won't come true, and so it's not a good idea. And so that's major difference, and so that's why I'm spending so much time, talking with my students and spending so many hours together every single day. Not hours, but so many minutes. And every single day from Monday through Friday.
Yeah, but how do you, just one additional question, how do you realize that students get a target?
Well, first of all, I ask them, what is your target in this 4-year college life? And then how about then? After you graduate, what would you like to be? And they have no target. So then, what would you like to do in the next 1 year, or 2nd year, or 3rd year? So I just ask, over and over again, ask questions. And I don't rush it, but I just wait and be very patient and ask questions. Then they just think it over, because they have never been asked that question. Can you believe it? They don't even think about setting a target. Parents don't talk about it, and teachers, high school teachers don't talk about it so much. So they have never been asked, well, it's not never, but they have not been asked a question about their own future. So I try to be slow, but I just always try to spend time and to be patient, asking those very, very simple questions.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's I think in the Netherlands, of course, as a teacher, we continuously ask students what their targets are and what they are doing. But I think it's a good lesson, especially for students in Japan. No, I'm joking. I think it's also a good lesson for us, of course. Let's go to the next issue, and that's Toyota. In 1966, you entered Toyota.
Right.
Just a question, how did you decide to go to Toyota?
Well, a couple of reasons. One reason because my home is very close to Toyota headquarters. And another reason because I was born and raised in the country, and Toyota is now located very, local area and a very down-to-earth culture. And many people believe that Toyota, Nissan, Honda, and all the same culture. Oh, it is not. Toyota has very, very down-to-earth culture, which just fits me very, very. I like it so much. And there was not opening, but for some reason, they picked me up. So I was so lucky.
Okay, and well, basically, Toyota is well known because of continuous improvement, the continuous improvement culture. How did you learn the continuous improvement culture? What were your activities in the first couple of months at Toyota?
Well, in Japan, university students graduate in March and start working in the company starting in April. So first, within a Toyota case, first 3 months, 2 or 3 months, we go through the orientation and training courses. We don't just go to each department to start working. No, we spend the entire time, 2 3 months, in the education training facility and going through all kinds of training. And one of the training is it's a hands-on training. They put us in the production plant because we are manufacturer. So the production plant, and just we have to work. No, we work exactly the same schedule with our workers, day shift, night shift. And so it was a great experience to learn, and you can learn through skins how they think, how they just enjoy their job, how they talk with their people, how they just train, how they stop the line, or how they fix all those working. You spend more than 8 hours a day, so just you can learn very, very precisely how they work over there. It's a great training. It's hands-on training, practical training.
But basically, with the purpose to learn how people think in the factory. Or?
Right. How people think, how people behave, how people talk with the bosses. It's a great training. So it's much better than classroom training.
And when you were active in the company at that time, you already noticed that continuous improvement culture in the company?
Yes.
When talking with the employees?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a long story because Kaizen, Kaizen is familiar, right? Kaizen.
Yes.
Kaizen has been started before 60s. And Dr. Deming came into Japan, and the quality control and training is, prevail across the across the country. But at that time, Toyota has already incorporated those Kaizen mindset in our daily activities. So it's a long period of time that we've been quite familiar with Kaizen concept.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next topic, and that's the NUMMI factory. That's the NUMMI factory, and here you see Yoshino-san and John Shook. When active for the NUMMI factory, you hired John Shook.
Yes.
The NUMMI factory was a factory in California, and it functions bad. It was a General Motors factory. It went away, and Toyota, together with General Motors, decided to start together that company, making the Toyota Corolla, was it?
Right.
Making the Toyota Corolla. And basically your responsibility was to organize the training for middle managers in such a way that a plant would exist with an improvement culture.
That's
with
correct.
the Toyota improvement culture.
That's correct. I was so fortunate for me to be assigned to the training manager. And actually, I was in the training manager before joint venture started. And then 1 year later, Toyota and GM decided to work on joint venture. project, and so New United Motor Inc., NUMMI was established. And one of the first things that they decided to do is to send their shop floor workers, working level leaders, and to Japan for 3-week training. That is their decision.
May I just interrupt? I think it's good, but let's first see how difficult it is to change a culture. And I've got a part from a video which I got from Yoshino-san, and I will show you first a short movie of 2 minutes, which shows how difficult it is to change the culture at Toyota.
日米合弁企業はカリフォルニア州フリーモントで去年3月スタートした。GM はアメリカ西部の生産拠点としてここで19年にわたって乗用車を生産してきた。ところが生産性が低く労働争議も重なり3年前閉鎖に追い込まれた。レイオフされた労働者は延べ6000人に及んだ。合弁会社はこの同じ工場でレイオフ中の労働者を優先的に採用した。しかし生産方式は可能な限り日本式を取り入れていったのである。日本から最新鋭のロボット170台が導入された。生産設備の改造に9ヶ月と400億円をかけた。しかしスタート直後から指導する日本人とアメリカ人労働者の間でさまざまな問題が起こった。
Well, I didn't understand him. See, well, he didn't make himself clear. He didn't understand, just like you didn't understand. I didn't understand.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Put a nut on these things so that we repair it. We have to put the same nut as a seatbelt bolt. In other words, we should put a 14-millimeter nut on here, so in case he messes one up, he can use a 14-millimeter right there and then to fix it. Right. We're going to put a 14-inch nut on there.
Where's the captain?
Yeah, 14. Good. 14 millimeter.
14 millimeter.
Yeah.
14?
14.
14.
Yeah. Same as motor.
Yeah.
シートベルトの金具を取り付けるとき間違ったネジを無理やり押し込んだのである。
締め付けを失敗したんですね。斜めに入っちゃった。それをやめさせたんだけど、やめさせたにもかかわらずボンボンもう閉めてたと。
This is the first time we try to repair something right there, you know. So we're not familiar with the taps, you know, because of the metric and all that. Yeah. And he had given me 2 taps. He gave me a 10 millimeter and 11. And evidently we got the wrong one.
まあ思ったよりもちょっと難しいです。いやね、言ったことを確実にやってくればいいんだけど、やっぱり自分の考えでこう行動するっていうんですか、やる方が多いもんだから。それで自分でね、僕らが物を渡したらそれをちゃんと確保してね、自分で把握してくればいいんだけど、それをどこに置いたかわからんというような状況だもんだから。
But I think it's clear, it's difficult to change the culture. There's a clash between the Japanese culture, the Japanese way of working, and the American way of working. And you were responsible for getting a training program to improve the cooperation. So can you tell us something about how you organized the training program?
Okay, you know, the film you saw, that was after Japan training is finished, they come back to the United States, they start working with Japanese guys. So before this session, all the group leaders, team leaders, those are the leaders, and team leaders are team members, and team leaders, and group leaders. Those are the hierarchy. So all the group leaders and team leaders are sent to Japan for 3-week training. And not at the same time, but each time around 30 people. They form a group and came to Japan. And I was assigned to the training manager. And as you know, the GM, what it says is the relations between management and labor was terrible. They hate each other, but they don't like each other, and they don't trust each other. So workers particularly don't care about you know, the making a good car. They don't care because, because the numbers, quantity is so important than quality. So you are not supposed to stop the line, although you find some defect on the car, but you're not supposed to stop it. Otherwise, you're going to get fired. So just let it go. And so just deterioration, that people just don't feel happy, and they don't work hard, and alcoholic, and the Monday, they come to work sober, drunk, and so it's terrible relation. That's one of the reasons why GM decided to close the plant. And anyway, so those are the type of culture it prevails across the company. And so I was wondering when I was assigned to the training manager, how come, and one of the target was to, okay, you guys do something to help them to change their culture. It's not easy, right? Changing somebody's culture or the culture of a certain group, changing it so difficult. So to answer your question, my goal at the time as a training manager is to make them feel very happy to have a chance to work together with Japanese partners for even only 3 weeks, but make them feel happy and think about what makes Toyota workers happy like that. And they are happy. Japanese workers very happy because we send them actually 3 weeks training, but first 1 week is a classroom training. So workers don't sit down in the classroom for 1 week, but still we insisted. And we just went through all the explanation of our of history, and of course Toyota production system and safety rule, quality control systems, suggestion systems, and human relations section, all kinds of lecturing, but they get bored. So the second week they are so happy because they are sent to the plant, and we partnered Japanese guy to American guys 1-to-1, and American people don't speak a word of Japanese, of course not. And Japanese don't speak any word of English, some English, but actually they don't speak any of English. However, within a couple of days, they can talk with each other, body language, and it's amazing. Anyway, so that is the main purpose that we try to attain is that make them feel very deep in the skin that this is what Toyota people working for, and whether I want them to know that the Toyota people are working very happy working in those environment, and why it is, and because they spend more than 8 hours, so they can talk something, asking questions, are you happy, and they can communicate the simple expression. Maybe they must have asked, are you happy? Why do you think happy working over here 8 hours? So I can see those changes. Anyway, the purpose is to make them feel happy and see all those things, what's happening in the plant in Toyota by their own eyes. And then after 2 weeks later, I want them to bring back some of me 2 or 3 or 4 takeaway things that they would like to implement when they are back in California. Not everything, but 1 or 2 or 3 is a good number to remember, to memorize. So our goal with John Shook, we discussed, John Shook and my subordinate, and we decided, let them bring up those ideas, 2 or 3 or 4, to bring back and implement it. And if they can clearly talk about it at the end of the entire training program, then that's a success. That is a target. It's a crazy target, but I set that target, and it went pretty good.
Yeah. So basically, what you were saying, you did a training for 1 week, and then 2 weeks there was on the level of team manager from Japan and from US.
Yeah, well,
you made a bond between these two.
That's right.
So
so they spend entire day, more than 8 hours, even during lunchtime.
Yeah.
And sometimes Japanese guys invited them to their home,
yeah,
and entertained them. So it's, they feel
connected.
Yeah, connected, and they just totally understand the way Japanese people working day and night. Yeah. And so those mentality, and they just they learn so much within 2 weeks is long enough for them to know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got a little movie about after the 3 weeks. After the 3 weeks, there was a ceremony. People got a diploma. They also had to do an exam. And just show the picture, please.
3週間の研修が終わった。
皆さんのおかげでNUMMIを成功させる自信がつきました。トヨタの人たちは素晴らしい人たちでした。ありがとうございます。
研修生の帰国後、しばらくして日本人トレーナーも渡米する。アメリカでもこのペアは生産が軌道に乗るまで続くのである。いよいよ舞台はアメリカに移る。
I think it's a nice video, and especially that the Japanese guy is so touched about that his friend is leaving Japan. It created a kind of connection between Japanese workers.
Yeah,
and,
I think so. Yeah,
I think that's important.
Yeah, it's important. So 8 hours, more than 8 hours a day, every day, and 2 weeks, and even including Sunday and Saturday and Sunday. So it's long enough for them to get to know each other and talking about their family. And by the time they just leave Japan, they feel very, sentimental.
Yeah.
And even just, adult guy just cry. It's interesting. Well, it's not interesting, but it's important because the guy, Japanese guy, just 2-3 months later, they visited California and they meet one more time. They meet again and reinforce their learning. So it's a series of training,
yeah.
And I took care of the training. We call it Japan training. But after that, we send our trainees to the United States just to follow up, so to reinforce their learning. So that is one of the reasons why it was the training and the action plans were successful.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a long movie of about 1 hour, but. Back in California, back at the plant, then you see how much learning there is in the plant. And there are also many mistakes. And that even the Japanese people, they don't worry about the mistakes. Every mistake is a challenge. I've chosen a small part, a small video out of it, 2 or 3 minutes. It takes some time, but it shows a line stop. You all know what a line stop means? Yes? And so if something is going wrong in the line at a certain place, people are allowed or they are asked to pull the line, to stop the whole line, and to repair that particular thing. It costs a lot of money, and the American people did have problems and difficulties to do that, because then they are responsible for a stop of a whole line, which is quite expensive. But they had to do that. And on this video, the next video, you will see what happens. But what is interesting about this is the learning, in my opinion, the learning from the Japanese, what the Japanese did, because there came a kind of struggle. I hope the video will go well. We'll go to the next.
アメリカ人の班長と日本人トレーナーの間で騒ぎが持ち上がった。原因はラインストップであった。日本では ラインのどこかで不良箇所を発見すると紐を引いてラインをストップし、駆けつけた班長と一緒に手直しをする。このラインストップは誰でもできる代わりに、ストップの回数や時間は必要かつ最小限にとどめるというのが大前提になっている。あらかじめ定めた生産計画に影響を及ぼさないためである。この日、不良箇所を発見したアメリカ人労働者が紐を引き、班長を呼んだ。アメリカ人の班長はラインをストップさせ、手直し作業に入った。それを見ていた日本人トレーナーは、その程度の手直しはラインを止めなくてもできると判断。アメリカ人班長に相談せずにラインストップを解除した。ラインは当の班長が知らない間に再び動き出した。アメリカ人の班長は自分の権限を無視されたと反発、感情的な対立に発展した。
I think what it was, there was a little impatience on his part. And granted, from my observation of the people that are working at the Takaoka plant, they work very fast in comparison to what we're doing. But, however, it was one of those type of situations where when you're learning at the very beginning of any type of operation, you take the necessary steps to learn very slowly. Then you progress. He was able to teach me a lot of things, and I'm sure I was able to teach him a lot of things. So I feel quite confident.
They're just going to have a lot of patience with the Americans, and they're going to have to explain to, they're going to have to work with the Americans and hope that the Americans have a lot of patience themselves, but they might have to let the Americans contribute a little bit towards their business if they want to work with them. I don't think they can do it, come over here and start a business and do it all themselves. I think they're going to have to let the Americans contribute a little bit.
この後、日本人トレーナーの指導方針が変わった。アメリカ人の班長と意見が分かれたときは、アメリカ人の判断を優先させることになった。
ラインストップ方式をですね、導入した場合に、やはりいろんな方からのご意見を伺いましてですね、アメリカでそれを導入すると、とにかくラインがストップして動かないんじゃないかと、あちらでもこちらでも止まって全然動かないということがありましたけども、しかし実際に、それがないとですね、我々の実際に作業をしてもらってる人に品質を作り込んでもらうんだという考え方が導入できないわけですね。だからもう根底から狂ってしまうもんですから、もう反対もありましたけども、とにかく皆さんにそれをやっていただくということで、とりあえず今までのところはですね、皆さんを信じてやってるという段階ですね。
What really happened?
Well, actually, the announcer said that American workers, American team leader, they found a defect. The workers found a defect and talked to the American team leader. Then, this is serious. So he just stopped the line. That's as he was told to do. Then Japanese team leader sent from Japan was watching them. They don't have to stop it. They can fix it, and they can fix it while the car is moving. And so it's already that it's a confrontation that started already. And then the Japanese guy, he does not have no authority, but he's a coach. So after fixing, he let the line go start without asking okay from the American team leader. So it's American soil. So that they have to ask him that they skip the system. So just American workers are very pissed off and then create some problem. So it's a gap. American, they are told to do exactly what to do, but Japanese team leaders are more detailed guys. So, and he thought, we can handle that. So it's a misunderstanding. But one thing I would like to say is that Japanese team leaders could learn so many things out of that, because he always judges from the Japanese point of view. And he is so trained, and he has so much experience. So in his mindset, they can do that. But from American point of view, this is the first time. So just they believe that they need more time to be trained. So it's a gap. Now Japanese team leaders learn so much, more than American team leaders learned. And how to deal with people from different cultures, you have to be on their side, on their viewpoint. You have to view things on their viewpoint rather than their own viewpoint. So I like this theme very much because we believe that Toyota are coaching them and we are teaching something. However, sometimes they are teaching us.
Yeah.
So it's a great great relations and great learning opportunities for us too.
I think it's a nice example that NUMMI was not pushing the Japanese way of working into America,
right. First
but it was developing it together.
That's right.
That's what
they try to pass the authority to American leaders more, which is good, and that makes them feel so comfortable, so happy.
Yeah.
I have a power. I have authority to do whatever I need to do.
Okay. Finally, NUMMI became a great success. On YouTube, you can films of 20-year NUMMI, and you see enthusiastic workers dealing with NUMMI. And here you see the whole team of NUMMI at the start, together with the first Toyota Corolla. NUMMI really became a landmark, a key factory in the lean world. It showed that Toyota production system also can work in other countries than Japan. You not only were active in manufacturing area, but you also were active more in the office area.
Right.
And then we have to go to Can Pro. But first of all, before doing that, I would like to ask if there is somebody from the audience who have some questions, please ask. Yes, there is a question. Steph.
Well, I was wondering, Yoshino-san, how it was for the Japanese to share all their knowledge and their experience to their former competitor like GM was, and which was quite hostile to Japanese car manufacturers coming to Japan. How did it work, and what was the key factor that made it to success in the end?
You're talking about NUMMI case?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, about the NUMMI case.
Again, that training was designed, and our training program and also training in the plant was designed to make them learn something. Make American people learn Toyota style, Toyota concept, and everything, working style and everything. However, at the same time, we learned that Toyota people learned probably more than they learned, because changing their culture. We had many people just wanted to change their culture. We can change their culture, NUMMI's culture. No, it's not easy. So we learned what kind of action plan, what kind of stage you have to go through in order to change, in order to see some changes taking place. So we learned so many things that different culture. Maybe we can change the culture, but it takes longer time. We have to make all kinds of tests, all kinds of trial, all kinds of consideration to make it happen. So things are not easy, and with regard to culture change, that is one of the many things that we learned at Toyota side.
Okay.
So it was successful NUMMI project, NUMMI people, but at the same time, I think it's a big success for Toyota too.
Okay, there were a lot of takeaways for Toyota as well in that case. Yes.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
So it means basically training your competitors might be profitable for you, because you're training your General Motors people.
Oh, okay.
So
no, we didn't train General Motors. We trained ex-General Motors employees, and actually, one of the main purpose of the joint venture for GM is to establish joint venture, and then after joint venture is successful, then take away those management people, managers, plant manager, paint manager, welding manager, or those assembly managers. They take them out to Smyrna. Not Smyrna. their small size car. What is that? Oh, Saturn. Yeah. Are you familiar with the small size car, Saturn? GM planned to manufacture Saturn, but they need to learn how to manufacture small size car with a lower cost. So their purpose is to learn some technique from NUMMI and put it use it in the Saturn plan. That was their original plan. And that was that they say, they already started to say, but they failed it because so many reasons, because they just, you cannot transfer some technology or way of thinking automatically from one place to another. And that's what they tried to do. I'm not criticizing them, but the starting point was wrong, I believe. So we did not train GM, ex-GM people, but we did not intend to train GM. But GM tried to learn something from the ex-GM managers, but that's not enough. So I don't think they succeeded.
Is it so that you think, well, we taught them the methods, but the methods is only a little part of it? That's what you think.
I agree. Method, all the skills, all those hardware, or you call hardware, or software, or whatever way of thinking, and human aspect, you have to learn, and also culture, and all these things should be combined together in order to change the culture. It's not a simple thing, and GM maybe underestimated. I don't know, but the reason why I'm saying this is because before that, all those workers class came over to Japan in June, and we received ex-GM managers who was assigned at NUMMI. And John Shook and myself was attending that meeting, and they don't want to change their mindset. It's very interesting. GM people wants to be GM wherever they go. So we are very, very shocked. John Shook, me, and very shocked to find out, they just don't want to learn anything when they come over here, spend 1 week. So I was so scared. Then workers came in, then totally different. So there's a big gap between management way of thinking and workers. And they just, in April, when managers came in and we discussed, then they are talking so badly about their own employees. Yoshino-san, just be careful, just those people are crazy. They don't work, so they're lazy, they don't work, so just, they are not good workers. Can you believe it? You just call your employees bad like that to outsider like us. So we were shocked. But when we received the people 2 months later, they're so nice people. They are great people, very good-hearted, but wild, very wild. But it's okay. It's Californian. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go to the next big project you've done, and that's the CAN-Pro project. It's a program for non-production Gemba managers at Toyota main office in Japan.
Well, actually,
you used the A3 process to structure this initiative, and I've got a basic A3 made by the leader of that CAN-Pro program about teaching the Toyota production system to non-production people. Can you tell us a little bit more about the CAN-Pro? What was the basic target of
CAN-Pro? is a shortened naming. It's a Kanri Noryoku Program. So it's a mixture of Japanese and English. So CAN-Pro is designed for all the Toyota managers, headquarters area managers. So maybe I gave you wrong information about the non-production, but it includes all the all the administration and everything, yes. and technical division and all the key managers. So about 1,800 people, and okay. It took place in 79 and 80, 2 years, which is about 20 years or 15 to 20 years after the Dr. Deming craze. We call it Dr. Deming craze. Yeah, because are you familiar with Dr. Deming? Is a quality control expert. He came into Japan to train Japanese manufacturers how to make it more efficiently and quality control system. So many Japanese manufacturers learned so much from him. And so it's 60. And in early 60 and mid 60. So every Japanese manufacturers are very eager to learn from him, from his theory. And it's a big craze. When I joined Toyota 66, it's crazy on top of. So it was learned so much. But 15 years and 20 years, that excitement goes down, a little bit fading away. So it's just like the belt of your pants just loosened. So you have to. It's time to tighten up the belt, and so it's a reinforcement training for management level, because management upper level, if they are serious about doing whatever kaizen, whatever, serious about their responsibility, then subordinate working for them becomes serious. If the upper people just lazy, and then people are watching very carefully, so they can sense it. Oh, boss is lazy, bosses don't care about us. So they can sense it so quickly. So upper level people are so important. And so top management feel that kind of sense is getting less and less after 15 years. So our top management is so smart, so sensitive, and it started from top management.
But what was your target then exactly? What do you want to realize with the person?
Actually, it was not but I was joined that for only small 4 people group, and at the time the program's target is to reinforce their learning on the leadership and judging ability and negotiation ability and broader experience, and also listening ability. All those kinds of leaders responsibility or ability that is required to higher management level. And a Kaizen mindset is included.
But is that then every 2 weeks of training and then it's finished, or 2 year long, or what were the key elements of
a key element
Kanpro?
is, you are familiar with Hoshin Kanri, right? And Hoshin Kanri was a tool to make that program prevail. So idea is that 2 years, or just each year, at the end of that year, each year that we develop next year's Hoshin items and Hoshin plan, action plan, and who is in charge and the schedule. And then we start up. So January we start. Then, and in the middle of the year, which is June, all those managers prepare his status report in A3 document, and then make a presentation to higher officers. And so, and then another timing presentation takes place about November or December. So they go through the presentation 2 times a year, and 2 times a year, then 2 years, so 4 times a year. They have to write all those A3 documents. But at the time, there was no computer, no laptop computer. So they have to write with their own pencils and A3 and write. Then, I need to add one more. They just erase it. And so it's very, very time consuming. However, it's a great training for all those top floor managers.
But isn't that easy to just write 2 times a year an A3? That's 2 A4. You go and sit there for one evening, you write your A3 and you're finished, and you hand it over and it's ready again. So what's the difficulty?
Well, it's not. Well, some people it's difficult because it's not difficult, but it's not easy things to do because at end of year or beginning of the year, you have to establish that plan, Hoshin plan. In order to put everything important information into that A3 limited size, you have to think it over and over again. Which item to choose, which item to skip, and all those thinking process, you have to go through that. The top management always. So it is a great training for them to do 5 S's. Sorting out what is important, what is less important, and putting down in their own writing, in their own expression. So each person has different way of writing. So it's a great training for them.
But probably also that that you say, well, what people put on their A3 also has consequences. People write their targets on it,
Right.
and if the targets are wrong,
Right.
so that makes it more difficult, probably.
Yeah, it's the purpose of that A3 is to write it down what you have in mind, most important first priority items you have to attain this year. And so in order to make it happen, in order to write it down, you have to think about it, big boss. Then you have to talk with their subordinate. So it requires a lot of communication. We call it catchball. And so by the time he finishes that, maybe 2-3 weeks is required. So then by the time he finishes A3, it's a very, very good product. It's made by himself or herself, but together with the support or input from the subordinates. So it's only one small A3 size of paper, but it's very powerful tool to bring them all the people's mindset together and to create some excitement, create some, to be on the same page type of activities. So it requires a lot of work and the passion and determination. And so probably, well, I have never heard any other company has done that 2-year project because it requires a lot of time. Many of the top management people will, of course, definitely will complain about it. We are busy. How come you just make us study just like high school students? And but of course, we receive all those complaints from many places. But it's interesting. Of course, Toyota is not an exceptional, but Toyota people also complain. However, even though they start complaining, but they call us. But still, Yoshino, after I finished my complaint, but also I wanted to tell you that it really works. It really works. It really works for us. So just thank you very much for this assignment. So they like it, and so that is the beauty of that program. And so top management and higher management are very, very serious about it. That is the real cause of the success.
Okay. Are there questions from the audience?
Yoshi-san, first of all, it's very nice to hear your stories and your experience. It's very nice to hear that and to be part of that. On the factory, the NUMMI factory, you talked about a culture change. When did you think about timing that you were on a good level? Because changing culture is something enormously difficult. And did systems help you to change culture? Or was it mainly the working together and of the people?
The question is how did you control the process?
Control the process.
The culture change.
Yeah,
how culture change happened, that is a question.
Yeah, that is clear. You let the people work together. But how did you control the process that it went into the right direction, set the targets for it, or how did you manage that process?
Okay. When those group leaders, all of the leaders came over to Japan. So they witnessed all those actions, all the day-to-day actions of their partners. And also they have a chance to discuss about the Hoshin document of each plant, each section. Paint shop, of course, they have a chance to go through those documents. So, this is a Hoshin they are shared. Even the lowest level of leaders shared all those targets and with the bosses. So they have a chance. They feel like, okay, within Toyota, people are treated nice, a kind of, we don't use the word respect, but they feel like, there is respect. I can see some respect from bosses to the shop floor workers. So respect is not only for lower people to higher people, not lower, higher, but it's, so they found out. And so, but they do not trigger that culture change, but they need more time. So that's why we put them in the shop floor and working two weeks, but 2 weeks is not enough, but it's very good because they can sense it, or the way they talk to the bosses, very close. And very close. There's always bosses, paint manager always walking around paint shop. assembly manager always, one time in the morning and one time in the afternoon, maybe they make it a rule probably, most of the managers. So they see managers very, very often, and they just say hi. And so this is so close with each other. So, and they learned, okay, this culture is pretty good. So while they're staying in Japan, they started thinking about, started to compare this culture and the culture they used to be. And so we did not talk about, okay, your culture this and our culture this, and we did not say that, but all we did is just let them experience. And
so basically what you're saying is there was no push in it at all.
Right, we didn't push anything.
You just monitored what happened.
Right, just let them make decisions, not us. So if we are pushy, then they just hesitate or they just shut the door. So and that was one of the considerations that we do. And John advised me to do that too. So it was many people, many Toyota people say, "Oh, Yoshino, just you don't assign them so much, assignment, or it looks like you don't just teach something so hard." But no, this is fine. This is our style, and I think it works. And they enjoy the feeling that people like each other and feel very comfortable working together. So once you are knee deep in that environment, they feel very happy. So they started thinking about, how about just bringing this back to California and start something in a small case in my area. So that is, and that we can see during the 2 weeks.
I think it's beautiful how you explain that having attention for the people and being focused on what happens with the people on the work floor where everything happens, that it is so important. I now would like, we have a couple of minutes, I would like to a different thing. And here you see a motorboat, and perhaps none of you know that Toyota also made ski boats. Boats for water skiing. And perhaps you can tell us what was the decision of Toyota to start with this?
Well, it's not the submarine decision. I just proposed this one. I'm crazy.
You proposed it?
Yeah, I proposed it, not personally, but I proposed this idea because I spent so many years in the United States. So I was, and I saw all those ski boat, lifestyle. So, and also, Lexus, you're familiar with the Lexus car. Lexus started with 4-liter, 300 horsepower. That perfectly fit the water ski boat. Water ski boat needs to have a 300 horsepower to compete. Anyway, so I thought, okay, maybe this is another sales chance of that Lexus engine in other countries. So just I ended up with an idea to how about making water ski boat in the United States, but we ship the marinized Lexus engine to the plant and manufacture it and sell it. That was my idea, and I went through. It was not easy. I brought that idea through. I went through those, it's not easy, but got an okay. It's very unusual. And then I started, and I learned so many things. To make a long story short, I failed. This project was closed, and probably 20% of the closure of the reason is because my management was poor, and I was not experienced in managing American people. 85. I hired 85 people, including managers, and it was not that easy that I thought. And so that 20%, maybe 30%, my lack of knowledge and capability. 70% or 80% is a structural reason, because Toyota, even though I keep saying that Toyota is a great company. However, of course, a good point and bad point. And bad point is that bad side is that they want to make some decisions by themselves in headquarters. How come just 7,000 miles away they can make decisions day-to-day work, and they poke their nose into my business, and they just always tell me what to do. So I'm a little bit exaggerating, but that is what happened. So I've been struggling, and at the end of those series of struggle, they decided, okay, Yoshino does not listen. And so they decided to
close the shop.
To close. But so it was the most terrible experience, most uncomfortable, and
you felt miserable.
Miserable, very, very miserable. However, I learned so many things out of that struggle, because when business is great, when everything, the result is great, everybody wants to join me. Everybody will poke their nose and try to advise me. But when something happens, then they try to step back. And when I look back, nobody is helping, standing behind me to support me. So that's human. So I learned, maybe if I am in that position, I could have done the same thing. So I learned so many things. So human aspect is so important. So
yeah, but I think it was quite a costly project for
very, very costly. So, oh yeah.
How much?
Yeah.
How much was it? Millions
well,
or
$13 million.
$13 million.
One of the finance department told me jokingly that Yoshino-san, you cost Toyota just $13 million US dollars and loss. So I'm sorry. How can I, compensate? No,
and that was the reason that you retired early?
No.
Oh, no.
But it's very, very interesting.
But what happened with Toyota then? Because
actually, I did not close, but they closed it, so I have to accept it. And they decided to accept it a long time ago, before I knew. And the 9/11 and 2001, 9/11 at the same timing, that day, September 11, I was told, why don't you come? I was in Florida. Why don't you come to LA? And we will send my staff, the boss and headquarters, we will send my staff, and we have to discuss how to close in a very smooth manner, because I rejected. Not rejected, but I tried to keep it alive anyway. So at the time, and they already decided, about April or May, they decided we're going to close it. Then Yoshino just sticks to these things. So maybe he has still some energy and to the boat project, but maybe we can take advantage of his energy to some other project, because we need somebody like a crazy guy like him. So they said, fuel cell, are you familiar? Fuel cell cars, and it's not out yet, but it's still under experimental. But it's a fuel cell project, one of the very, very interesting projects. And so they already assigned me and to take care of it. And 6 months before I knew. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that it was so miserable. However, at the same time, I found out that the people watching, people see the energy or passion they putting into your job. Because I like it, I like my people. Yeah. So I was so happy that after 9/11, I came back to Japan and get started with a new project. So and it was a great, terrible ending, but a very, very nice startup with my new career.
I think it's beautiful to hear that failures, you have to dare, and some say there is a risk always. And if you fail, there's a lot of learning. So there's always an advantage of everything what you're doing. But we have only 1 minute left. And okay. The last question is always in a college tour the same question. And that's the question about the students here. The students, they have a career in front of them. They will go to industry. Oh. They will make probably a similar career as what you made. Oh. What kind of lesson do you want to give these students?
Well, I don't know, but maybe a couple of things. One thing is that when you face something, face some whatever, just face directly to the fact. And sometimes people, smart people, just tend to assume without looking at it. So just when you decide something, judge something, you have to go to Gemba, go to the place, go to see the people, go to meet the people directly. And also when you deal with the documents, the numbers, all those, just face the fact. Facts is so important. So assume, don't assume anything. Just assume that bring you nothing. Just see the fact, then you make the decision. Another thing is that think deeper. You know, when something happens, when you want to make kaizen on that, sometimes you jump. For example, the light is off, then just bring the another light. Then does not give you anything. So think it over and over again, deeper and deeper, until you get to the real cause of the problem. Then you can develop your skill to dig down, and also you can find a good solution, and you feel more happier. So those two things that come up to my mind.
Yoshino-san, thank you very much. We will take your lessons with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yoshino-san, I've got a little present, and I thought I need to give you a little present, and it's basically a calendar. And I thought about a calendar. I thought you liked Van Gogh a lot, so I thought I have to give you a Van Gogh calendar. But then I thought I assumed something. I assumed that you don't have a Van Gogh calendar. And so I thought probably Rembrandt, but then I assume again something. So therefore I decided to give you a calendar, an empty calendar.
Oh.
There's nothing on it.
Oh.
And a few stifts.
Oh,
so you can put everything, every picture of Holland and everything on the calendar what you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.